All right, so we are live right now. Let's just make sure we're not hearing any feedback, which always seems to happen. Always seems to happen. And there's the
There we go.
okay, good. All right, so we're here, we're live. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for hopping on if you're able to. I know it's midday for a lot of us, might be lunchtime. So if you're having lunch, happy lunchtime. And if you are watching this after the fact, thank you for rewatching. So I'm Elise. I am the founder of the French Tutor. And today for our weekly session, guys, we decided that we were going to do an Ask Anything session. These are always fun because it lets people literally submit mostly anonymously and just ask questions and things that you might think you're the only one that you're dealing with or that you're wondering about. This really helps to let you know that most of you as parents or as people who are interested in learning French kind of have a similar mindset or similar concerns. So we're always happy to jump on and just kind of have that ease. So if you are watching live, you are more than welcome. We will be keeping an eye on the comment section. So feel free to hop in there and ask your question live, and hopefully we can get to it. But today, everyone, I have joining with me. So maybe a lot of you don't know, but we currently have an ongoing partnership with the University of Toronto for a few years now. And this means that every year, it does depend on the time of the year, but right now it's for the winter semester. We have amazing co-op students who join our team for quite a few months and do just amazing work with us and gives new ideas and just really helps us move the French tutor along. So today I have one of our co-op students joining us, Yasmin. Hi, Yasmin.
Hi.
Welcome to our live. So
Thank
Yasmin
you.
is going to help us out. We did get some questions that were submitted as I asked before the call. So Yasmin's going to be asking me those questions, and then we'll probably leave a couple of minutes for us to get to know Yasmin a little bit better and kind of see where French has taken her. Sounds good?
Great.
Beautiful. Okay, Yasmin, so let us know what's the first question that
Yes.
you picked out.
So we have a question that says, will my child's English literacy suffer while learning French? What do we think about that?
Okay, so that's a good one. That's a popular one, to be honest. It is kind of that thing where this is my stat. It's not an official stat, but it's just from my data set of parents that I speak to from across Canada on a daily basis. So 90% of parents who have their children enrolled in French immersion in Canada don't speak French. Okay, that's just my data set. That's my stat. Okay, and that was also my story. So we can kind of see that trend that's been going on for a while. And it is a common question. People do wonder, hey, I'm putting them in French. I don't speak French at home. Does that mean their English is gonna go a little bit eh? And I am very honest in how I usually approach this answer. So, how I usually approach this is by saying that because French second language learning and the nature of the immersion program obviously puts in the beginning years an imbalance in terms of language priority. So when you are in French immersion, the first few years are intended to be 100% French immersion days in order to get that early initiation, let's call it.
Understanding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what I say is English always ends up balancing out. Okay. So I have never seen someone who is thriving in French immersion and their English is suffering. It's not their native language. And I also share English language learning and the foundations of literacy learning are the same across all languages. Meaning, if you are learning how to do phonics in French, those same applications will translate over to English. Okay. So if you're learning about vocabulary building in French, having more colorful language and knowing how to say and how to write different things in French, that mindset, that thinking will also translate over to English. English, though, the advantage of it is that for most people, it's their common language denominator, let's call it. So even if you aren't trying to learn English, it's everywhere. You can watch
Right.
television, you can go on YouTube, you can be out and about, and it's there. So it is a lot more passive, meaning that yes, at a certain point, because the priority is going to be French, English might look a little bit more wonky, but it always catches up. And I've seen that for myself, and I know you've probably seen that for yourself as well.
Yeah, and I can definitely agree with the fact that the skills that we learn while we're learning French will always translate to what we're also learning in literacy in English. So I can definitely agree with that.
Amazing. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that was like the short version, but let's hear what else came in.
Yeah. How about some quick tips that you might have to increase or improve our vocab?
Okay, yes. Huge. Vocab is huge, huge, huge. So here's what I always say. This is the tangible one. I believe in it. I know those who implement it see success in it, but it does take you taking that step. So one of the quick ways, and once again, speaking to parents mainly, or people who are looking to learn a second language, right? And it's not your native tongue. Okay, that's the key here. So for me, a big piece is comparing and contrasting. For me, it's kind of the number one approach, especially when working with younger ones, or actually anyone. Let's just forget younger ones, anyone. You've got to be able to compare and know, okay, what am I even trying to say? The way that you get to know what you're trying to say is saying what you're trying to say. So if you say, hey, Yasmin, I want to be able to say, I'm looking forward to summer vacation, right? There's no way you're going to get to that solution in French or in another language without being able to tell me first what you're trying to say. So your origin language, which for most people it's English, okay? Having that compare and contrast is huge. So here's what I recommend, a very tangible tip. Go around your home and label common items in both English and French. Does that sound kind of crazy? Yes, maybe, but it is so helpful. So, and I mean up to basic everyday items. If you have a water bottle, I'm just looking around my office. If you have a water bottle, take a post-it note and put bouteille or water bottle / bouteille d'eau, right? That's water bottle in French. And look up the words and compare and contrast, because that's what's actually allowing you to see the side by side. Comparing, contrasting. Okay, this is what this is. Go to items in your fridge. Go to items you see all the time. Okay, and compare and contrast, and maybe even do 5 items a week. If you're looking to build vocab, do it gradually, build it, right? Don't overwhelm or stuff it. Stuff it down your brain, or right? You have to do it in bite-sized pieces where you can go, okay, last week I learned bouteille d'eau, which was water bottle. This week I might add a banana. What else could we add? What could we add around the house, do you think?
For our bed, we could say le lit.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So comparing and contrasting, that's a very tangible, easy, and it's free, guys. Or maybe you have to buy some post-its, but yeah, that's my tip for vocab building.
Yeah, and I really like the idea of having like a visual there. I think that makes all the difference rather than just remembering that that's the word. Having a visual, um, like post-it or whatever it may be, a little card can really help with the memorization portion of it.
Right on. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
What
Anything else?
else? I don't speak French. How can I help my child practice at home?
Okay. Yeah,
This is a big
that's
one.
like, yeah, it's like probably top two question we get a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me see what I would recommend first and foremost. I mean, a good one that I like, and I think a lot of parents, they just gotta take the leap and start putting it into practice. But I think what's important is having your child read to you, okay? Or even if they're younger and they want to have sight words, okay? Having them practice those sight words to you and putting it in the habit of recording them, to me, is a big way you can help without speaking French. So hearing that, you're probably like, I don't speak French, so why would I be recording them? But here's what this does. So when you are partnering with your child in a language that you don't speak, it is important, number one, for them to feel supported. Too often, a child is going along their French journey or their learning journey. And because maybe you're saying to them, I don't understand French, or I can't help you, it's not allowing them to see you maybe as a supporter in that journey. Yes, you can be a supporter of them as the parent, but when it comes to French, they may not tell you, hey, mom, this is hard, or hey, dad, I'm not understanding this, because you've already put it out there, you understand. So this is now creating the partnership in the journey, okay, you as the parent. And what I always recommend is maybe decide on a few sight words per month. So if your child is in grade one immersion, let's look at like maybe 5 sight words for the month because they're still having school going on, and just record them once a week. Say, okay, I want you to read these 5 words to me. And you as a parent, while you may not understand the language, you can gauge fluency. You can observe fluency. You can see even in English, right? If someone is hesitating, if someone is looking up in the sky when the word is not in the sky. I did a post on that recently, and it's like you can kind of have certain gauges. So the point is you want to show the support, but record them, either reading to you some sight words for the month or a short text, and observe for yourself. Observe where maybe, make some notes where they're hesitating, where you can see, that word is taking a little bit longer. There's some stumbling going on, right? And that's a way to be supportive and also just allow them to now trust you to be with them on this journey. Um, yeah, that's one I'll share for now. Yes,
Well, that's a really good one. I like the idea of the video as well, so that you have that and you can look back on it after.
for
It's a good
sure.
one.
Even for the child, right? To see, hey,
Yeah,
I I've made some improvements. And it's not always about speed to read, but it's about the cadence and the
right.
flow of it, right? So
Yeah, love
cool.
that.
Okay. Were those
And yeah, that was all the questions I had for you.
okay? Good, 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 good. So Yasmin, maybe we can take some time, and I'm looking. Yeah, I think we are okay. So I want to know, obviously, people were probably like, oh, we have a partnership with U of T. What do you mean? What is this? So I
Yeah,
wanted to take some time today to, yes, answer some of the questions that came in, but also get to know from someone who is doing French at a post-secondary level and kind of understand a little bit more. So I want you to share a little bit more about you to our community.
absolutely. So I'm Yasmin. I'm in my 4th year at University of Toronto. I'm not majoring or minoring. I'm actually specializing in French. I do have some background in French to begin with. I did French immersion in elementary school. I also did 2 years of IB French in high school. And then I decided that I wanted to be a teacher and French was going to be my subject. And I was very solid on the fact that I only wanted to teach French. So I decided to do a specialist. I didn't think there was any reason to do a minor or a major. and it has been honestly really enjoyable. I think because I'm very passionate about teaching French, I found that this program was very enjoyable. Also, surprise Elise, but I actually just got accepted into my master's program, so I'll be doing my master's of
Oh,
teaching starting next year. Yeah,
yes,
so
yes,
that's how the
congrats.
journey has gone so far. Thank you.
That was so emotional. Why? What's God?
Yeah, yeah, it's a big deal, but so now I'm coming towards the end of my undergrad in French. Did you have any questions about maybe the program specifically?
Yeah, well, honestly, I want to know because very often it is not a matter of, people see me and what we do and what the French tutor does.
Right,
And they're like, okay, well, like, okay, you're on the other side of it. So you now, did your parents speak French?
not at
Do
all.
they speak French?
I try to teach my parents some words, but they absolutely do not understand any French at all. Um, which is why even hearing some of the tips that you had are actually beneficial. And I would like to share that with my students as well, is because growing up and not having parents that spoke French and then kind of being thrown into French immersion, where I'm learning French half of the day, it's a big change. And I
Yes.
did notice that my grades went from like very well to not so very well because it was a big transition.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe you can even like share a little bit more about like, how do you feel French is really benefited you? Because I do get, while there are supporters, there are those who are like, why would I put my child in French immersion? And I know what I
Yeah.
respond usually to that, but what would you say on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that honestly, French for me has helped me, especially within my career. I noticed that there are so many opportunities for French speakers. Even if it's not teaching, just living in Canada, you know that having that French on your resume or just being able to understand French can get you that much further. And I know that a lot of people come to me, especially within my university years, and they tell me all the time, Yasmin, I wish I continued French in high
Yes.
school. I wish I did at least a minor in French because I have a lot of friends in my program now who are either going into medicine or into law, and they're all taking a minor in French because that's what really differentiates them from the other group of lawyers or doctors or whatever else it may be. It doesn't have to be like a French specialist, your entire program is French, but I do think that that really helps differentiate you from the other students.
Love that. And I think it's
Yeah,
so true. And one thing I'll add, and this is what I share with parents, because for me, I love that you touched on career. So yes, helps you with career, but even the piece of French being this unifier, that's just about giving you access. It's about
right.
access. So when parents come and say, "Oh well, I say, I'm like, I don't want your kids worrying about a job. Like they might have the mindset, oh, you'll get a good job. Maybe, right? But at grade 2 or grade 3, do I want the students I work with to be saying, oh, what do I want to do with a career? No, like they should be dreaming out loud and not thinking about
Right,
it. Who wants to think about a job? Really?
right.
As a kid, it's not for them to think about or feel stressed out about. Okay. So it is about exploring what do they like, what are they interested in, and we kind of see where that leads them. But it is important that we tell them why why wouldn't we be attempting and exploring different ways that our kids can have more access and language. I'm not even going to push French at this point, but language and just understanding culture and being open-minded is what gives you more access. So even sometimes when I'll, who knows, chit chat with someone, even the way I say their name, if they're French, like let's say it's Alain or en français it's Alain, they'll take note. Oh, tu parles français. Oui,
Hmm.
that's it. We're not going into a French discussion. That no, that's it.
Right,
So it
right.
is that connections, that access. It's now, okay, I am maybe more open to you, or I feel a little bit more
Yeah,
connected to you through the language. So that
right.
it's called access at the end of the day. So
And like you said, like it does not have to be French, like just language in general. It's it is a good thing to just have, honestly.
For sure, for sure. And how would you, I know you've gotten to work with the French tutor and kind of see how we do our programming. So unbiased opinion, how do you feel? It's been like kind of just
Yeah.
tell everyone a little bit more about like what you would do.
Honestly, I really enjoy how the programs are structured. It's pretty different from what I'm used to. Um, I'm usually used to the cookie cutter. We have our lesson, we learn what we learn, we have our homework, we're done. And I really appreciate that with the French tutor, we have a more of a get to know sense of our students. And there's more of a fun aspect where they really enjoy just being in class. I remember I led the March break camp and they were having the time of their life. We did scavenger hunts, we did online games, and it was all pertaining to what we had learned in the lesson. But it had that feel of we're not really in a camp, a school learning camp. It was more like we're in a fun March break camp. And I really like that. I really like that.
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about. For me, you know, I tell parents like French tutor, because I feel like I do sit in the middle, is the mix, or it's the crossroad of old school and new school. Old school meaning, yes, you have to learn. Yes, there's a time and place for everything. And you know, your parents do put you in programming for there to be an output, that you've got to learn something. But then the new school way of is it's got to be fun, right? You know, back in the day, if you were even laughing or giggling in class, it's not serious. Like you're not
Yeah.
concentrating. But I think it is important that as the generations we deal with change and evolve and their attention spans differ, that learning has to go on that journey. So that's what been we've been doing and we're continuing to do. And at the end of the day, I want our kids, number one, to be confident, right? Gain confidence, however that happens. And secondly, to get really comfortable and approach mastery in terms of mastering the French foundations. So that's what it's about. Um, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's what really differentiates it from other programs. Another thing I would say is that honestly, at the end of my March break program, the students ask me, they're like, can you, like, even if you have to go, can you like leave the game going so we can continue playing? Like, we get it, like, you have to go, but can at least we continue playing? And I've never had that before where students actually want to stay and continue doing school work, but it doesn't feel like schoolwork to them. It's a game.
Right, right. And even for me, I'm always laughing at our students. They'll be when I teach, they're in the Zoom room, in the waiting room, waiting for me. Like, it's 5:45.
Yeah.
Why are they in the waiting room? But
Yeah.
it just shows they are excited. And that's what we want. We want our kids to feel excited about learning because the results come. Report cards, marks will come, and good comments and good grades come. But we want that attitude and that approach towards learning that goes way beyond a school environment. That's like their life skill being molded and developed. So awesome. Okay. So that is great. So, Yaz, I am more than happy to wrap this up. It's just also a short training today, but
Yeah.
we'll definitely maybe do this again at some point in a little while. We'll do another Ask Anything. Thank you for everyone who submitted their questions. Thank you to Yasmin for hopping on. To those parents, if you didn't get to submit anything, I still welcome. Like my DMs aren't closed to questions or comment on this live if you need to, but more than happy to have you reach out and let's have a chat about anything. Sounds good? All right.
Perfect.
So thank you guys again, and you have a good rest of day. Bye.